Welcome to Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Dr. RC will empower, encourage, and strengthen you. She will help you to soar to your highest potential while instilling hope. Please welcome the host of Dare to Soar, Dr. RC.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and hello, and welcome to Dare to Soar, the show where we elevate voices, expand perspectives, and explore the issues shaping our communities and our professions. I am your host, of course, Dr. RC, and as always, honored to create space where meaningful conversations take place. Oh, we are going to take flight. Social work and reparations imperative. That is our conversation for today. As we know, social work is a profession grounded in injustice, dignity, and the belief that every individual deserves the opportunity to thrive. Yet our communities we serve today are still deeply affected by historical policies and systematic inequities that shape access to things like wealth, housing, education, and opportunity. One of the most significant and evolving conversations addressing these realities is the national dialogue surrounding reparations. For many years, reparations respect more than financial compensation. They represent acknowledgement, restoration, and commitment to repair echoed across generations. Today, we'll explore what this conversation means for social workers, communities, and the ongoing pursuit of justice. Joining for this conversation dialogue is Dr. Onaje Muid, a member of the Delaware County, Pennsylvania Association of Black Social Workers, an organization committed to strengthening and empowering Black communities through culturally responsive social work practice. Dr. Mued brings a perspective that connects history, advocacy, and community leadership. He is a lifetime member of the National Coalition of Black Reparations in America, also known as NCOBRA. He is the co-founder of this health commission, is currently serves as an organizer for the National Reparations Leadership Assembly. In addition, he is the co-organizer of the social work campaign which seeks to establish on March 28th in Social Work Reparations Day. Dr. Mued holds both a master and doctorate in social work, and his work continues to contribute to national conversations surrounding justice, restoration, and the role of social workers in advancing equity. Dr. Mued, is truly an honor to have you with us today. Welcome to Dare to Soar. How are you feeling today?
Thank you so very much for the invitation. And one of my heroes, Amilcar Cabral, says, "Tell no lies and claim no easy victories." He was the revolutionary leader of PAIGC in Guinea-Bissau, and I was late to this meeting, and it was only because the doctor was so kind to call me and saying, "Excuse me, where are you right now? Do you know where you're supposed to be?" So I want to thank you for your kindness and for your understanding for this old man. It's an honor to be with you again, and it's so timely because we had, when I say we, I'm talking about Dr. Nikki Jones and I had agreed to create this campaign to establish March 28th every year as a year of social work and reparations. And you not knowing any of that just so happened to call me and invite me to the program. I'm saying, well, this must be the ancestors because the alignment is so exact and correct that I am truly honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. You said old man, but I see seasoned. That's what they tell me. It's all about seasoning, and you are correct. It is all about timing, especially in a time where our profession is, I say, being called to the carpet in a sense, because we're being questioned across the globe, and our profession is being questioned. So I would certainly agree with the timing of it. I know that we're having a commercial break that's going to come up in probably about 2.5 minutes. But I want to put this question out to you to get started, Dr. Muet. For the listeners who may be new to this conversation, how do you define reparations, and why is this discussion so important as you're meeting that preceded this interview in context of social work. We kind of dialogue and dove into it. And I know, like I said, a commercial break is going to come up, but let's just kind of touch the surface of that because it is a critical conversation to be having at this juncture in time in society right now.
Yeah, I would say very simply repair. Reparations
Mhm.
is repair. When we think about it, when we was in the schoolyard and someone did something to us, or we witnessed someone doing something to someone else, we would say that we would say one, that's not right, and two, we say that's not fair. And
Mhm.
then somebody would come in, usually a teacher, and say, apologize to that person. Right. So we know there's a instinctive justice formula in our minds about when something is wrong. So there's a criminal, there's a victim. If there's a victim, there's a harm, and that harm must be repaired. So reparations is the principles internationally constructed to
Mhm.
say there must be a repair.
Yes, yes, it definitely is. And we have so much repairing to do. And I knew that commercial break was coming up. So guys, don't go away. Dr. Mewett just he has so much more information to share. I promise you. Yes, we did get a late start, but this conversation is well worth the wait that we had you holding for. We will be right back after this commercial break. See you after the commercial break.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am speaking with Dr. Mewett, and the conversation for this morning is social work and the reparations imperative. What a conversation and what a timely conversation that we are having this morning. I want to jump right back into our questioning or the questions that I have for Dr. Mewett. And with that being said, many people understand that reparations, or may understand, I'll preface it that way, that reparations in general terms may not fully grasp the historical foundation, if you will. Can you help our listeners understand that historical events and policies that fuel this conversation?
All right. Um, I would like to share a quote from Social Workers for Reparations that was constructed by Dr. Jones. She says the absence of reparatory justice in social work neglects the profession's commitment to promote social justice and social change with and on behalf of vulnerable and historically oppressed peoples.
Mm,
So if we look at that definition, we're saying to a profession that says that they're here to assist the vulnerable and those who've been placed in positions of constraint, of control, of oppression.
Mhm.
So for a profession to say this is our stand, this is our ethical stand, and then not participate in the thinking and the practice that would bring change to that people, that's called hypocrisy.
Mhm.
And when I did my master's degree in 2004, I looked at the way in which reparations was being represented in the social work dictionary, and the the definition was so weak that it was like non-existent. It said like, oh, reparations is when two countries at war and then someone pays reparations for the harm that's done. Well, no, that's not true. And the thing which was so, I think, academically uh, neglectful was that the National Association of Social Workers were, in fact, members of the International Federation of Social Work, which
Mhm.
means that organization has a very strong human rights centered approach to social work around the world. So it wasn't as if the information wasn't available. They just chose to neglect it. I've been trying to see the current or the last edition of the dictionary to see what do they say now. So we're looking at an academic crime in terms of presenting yourself to say and do one thing and do something different. And we must remember, it wasn't by accident in 1968 when those Black social workers walked out of the National Social Work
Mhm.
Conference in San Francisco and created the National Association of Black Social Workers. And the reason was of neglect. They wanted to say that social welfare has to attend to the needs of the Black community, and they refused. So that was, in fact, the impetus for the creation of National Association of Black Social Workers, which I can say that I am a member. And I would say to those who are listening to this broadcast that if you're doing work in the Black community, if you are a person of African descent, you can become a member. And the person will say, well, wait a minute, I didn't study social work. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have a degree in social work. Well, guess what? You don't have to. And I'm a living proof of that because before I had my social work degree and didn't even know I wanted to go back to school to social work. Listen, if you're doing so good work in the community, social related work, you can become a member. So I'm inviting everybody on this broadcast to become a member of the National Association of Black Social Workers because I'm sure you're doing work in the community and we need you, right? So when we look at the history of reparations, most people would think of genocide of the Jews in Europe at the Nuremberg trials. It was they were found guilty of crimes against humanity, and from that they had to pay Jewish people all this money. Now, the thing which we don't know is that in the United States, reparations has been paid, and people say, "Wait a minute, when, how?" Those criminals, which we say slave masters, which they were masters of anything, they were dictators at least. They were paid reparations for compensation for the land that they was taken from them. Not only were they compensated for, the land was returned. So when you go back to Special Order 15 in 1865, when Sherman met with because the Tecumseh Sherman went with 29 preachers in the South in Georgia. They said we want land, and they said we want protected. We want to be protected by the U.S. Army so that we wouldn't be attacked. And so that's where 40 acres and a mule came from. It came from Special Order 15 because when you're at war, generals can actually make law in the field, and it's called the Special Order. So that's where 40 acres and a mule came from. So we are contemporary. We're going back to what was started because remember, Lincoln was assassinated. Right after Lincoln's assassination, Johnson was put in office. And as they normally do in this country, anything that has to do with Black people, you take one step forward and you take 5 steps back. 2 steps forward, you take 10 steps back. So Johnson was elected, and all the laws and the rights was taken back, right? In international terms, when you have a group of people, which we can say is considered a minority, particularly in terms of numbers and also in terms of power, there are two things which occur or can occur. One is called special measures, And for us, that's something like affirmative action,
Mhm.
right? When you say that because a harm was done, we're going to address that harm through a specific policy over an intended period of time. That's called special measures. International law goes a step further and says those groups who will be guaranteed special rights for forever, that's called special rights. And this is happening in different places, but see, here in America, we are so uninformed about human rights and human right laws that we don't even know what's available to us. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, these things are spelled out, but it goes further when you look at the Declaration on Minorities, where it talks about linguistic minorities, religious minorities, and they have another category that's called national minorities. What is that? National minorities are those groups who were on that landmass prior to the formation of that nation state. Guess what? We are, in fact, a national minority in that sense. And of course, we don't like the word minority because we are the world's majority. So sometimes the linguistics gets us a little confused, but let's stick to the principle. The principle is the fact that we are a group that did not give consent. Dr. Imari Obadella says, when did we give consent? Did we give consent to be kidnapped? No. Did we give consent to be transported? No. Did we give consent to be enslaved? No. Did we give consent to be party to what is called the United States of America Constitution? Guess what? The answer is no. You can't
Mhm.
confer citizenship on someone. You can invite them, yes, but you cannot confer. So we are living in a contested state. In fact, we are really prisoners of war. But our political education has been so insufficient, we haven't been able to situate ourselves in terms of international law. So reparations is a internationally agreed procedure when egregious human rights violations have been committed.
Mhm.
Let's go back to 2001 at the
Now, I
United Nations.
hate, I hate, Dr. Muir, I hate to interrupt you because I know you have so much more to say, but I'm getting the signal for a commercial break. So when we return from the commercial break, then you can finish up your response. Guys, I know that this is really getting good and down to all these golden nuggets he's sharing with you. We will be right back with more. Hold on. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality? But it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating. Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant. Like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. Yeah, it feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back once again. Yes, this is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC. I am joined here this morning by my guest, Dr. Muid, and we are speaking about the topic of social work and reparations imperative. Right before the break, I've asked Dr. Muid to explain and share information about understanding the historical events and policies that fueled this conversation. So, as he wraps up that question, I have a couple more questions for him. So, Dr. Mued, how do you want to and close? Because I know you dropped so many fantastic nuggets and gave so many points of matter of fact and historical data that I know that the guests who are tuned in and who will watch the playback have to go back and review. So please go ahead.
Thank you. So I think I left off speaking about national minorities, right, in terms of international law and human rights that applies to us. But like anything else, anything only when people, like Frederick Douglass says, where there's no struggle, there's no progress, right?
Mhm.
It may be a moral struggle, maybe a physical struggle, but it must be a struggle because power never conceded without a demand. It never did, and it never will.
Mhm.
So it's us knowing what tools are available to us. When we look at reparations, we see internationally there are about five different areas, five or six areas. Restitution, right, to restore the victim to the original situation before the violation, right? Most people think of reparations, they think of, okay, give me a check, compensation, right? Covers economically assembled damages, right? Including physical and mental harm, lost opportunities. All that's usually understood under the area of compensation. But the area that is most, I'm going to save that for last, satisfaction to address moral damages through public apologies and things of that sort, memorials, right? Change in the culture, right? And then the guarantee of non-repetition, right? And we don't want to be repaired for one harm and then another harm happens and then we're hurt again, right? But the area that more specifically is connected to social work is the area of rehabilitation, right? This
Mhm.
includes the medical, the psychological, the legal, and the social services that needs to be brought into existence to address what epigenetic inheritance. What is that? Epigenetics is the science that says when a person and a people are traumatized, it doesn't change the gene, but it changed the expression of the gene, right? So now we know scientifically how trauma is being passed down from one generation to the next. When we go back to the Holocaust, studies have been found, it's called survivor camp syndrome. And from that, different psychologists, social workers said, wait a minute, the current theories we have about trauma in the body, it doesn't seem to attend to and fully incorporate and understand what trauma they have experienced. Because we found that children of the Holocaust who were not in Europe, born here in America, were showing the same symptoms as their parents. And they had to say, wait a minute, how was this happening? So Dr. Maria Yellowhorse, Braveheart, did her studies at Smith, and she came up with the concept of historical trauma. That is trauma that's passed down from one generation to the next. Dr. Joy DeGruy used the same type of thinking and said, okay, well, how then does these theories apply to people of African descent who've been victims of slavery? But not only slavery, and people say, oh, that happened such a long time ago. Well, no, if it changes your culture, it changes the way how you understand yourself, how you your relationships with other people, it means that it's still present today. So we're talking about the vestiges. So we're not just talking about slavery as an event or through the amount of years that it was in practice, but also what has happened since then. So sometimes social workers talk about we need to change. We don't need change. No, what we need is correction. We need correction from the first harm and the subsequent harms after the first harm. So sometimes we get confused to think that it's about change. It's not about change. It's about corrections and it's about repair. So I'm trying to give you a framework, the audience, a framework of what reparations is. So it's all those things and things maybe we haven't even spoken about yet. But more than anything else, the people themselves, the community has to be involved in the conversation. And this is why that myself and Dr. Jones is so happy about what's happened on March 28th. Uh,
Mhm.
it's a phenomenal day because again the ancestors arranged this. I had nothing to do with it. That is what Doctor lawyer Nkechi Tiafa is doing a talk on what just happened in Addis Ababa. Right in February, the African Union declared slavery a crime against humanity and colonialism. Right now, that's them doing that. Now, of course, it was done prior to 2001, but it was almost like pushed to the side. It was pushed, up in in the shelf in the back, the same way that the Du Bois petition on genocide that was given to the United Nations in about 1951 after the genocide convention was produced, it was pushed to the side. So now we're going to bring it back forward. So we are celebrating 25 years anniversary of the Durban Declaration. The December 12th movement out of New York City is heading that up, and they head up what was called the Durban 400. 400 people came from the United States to Durban, South Africa. I was a delegate at that meeting. So on the 28th of March, we're going to hold the inaugural social work 40 acres in the mule reparations day. But I would but the thing is, in the morning from 11 to 1, Nkechi is going to talk about what happened in Addis Ababa at the African Union and bring us up to date on that. That's from 11 to 1. We take a lunch break between 1 and 2. And between 2 and 4, we're going to go into the relationship between social work and reparation. And we have a social worker who, pardon, there's no one who can match her. This is attorney Adjoa Aratello, who is a co-founder of Incobra. She's a member of the National Conference of Black Lawyers, and I can go on and on and on. She is going to give the keynote address. So, and every major reparations activity that happened here in the United States, as well as internationally, she was there. She's written about it. She's taught about it. She's taught classes. So this is a treat that you're not going to get this treat, right? The other part of the campaign is that we're honoring Lennon Dunstan. Lennon Dunstan was a social worker. He was a former commissioner of youth for New York State, and just a consummate, he was our elder statesman. We lost him around I think is it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2004, 24. And because his last public appearance was, in fact, talking about social work and reparations, we're honoring him by honoring that conversation that took place on June the 12th, 2024. And there was a recording of that panel discussion. I was on the panel discussion, he was on the panel discussion, and the president of the National Association of Social Work, Black Social Workers, Melissa Haley, she was on it as well. So we're inviting people through the campaign from March 28th to June 12th to look at those videos and have discussions with their families and with their communities.
Wonderful. And guys, it is time for another commercial break. But when we come back, I want to ask you, as we move forward, about education, housing, and health economics as well. So when we return, that's a question I want to pose to you guys. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Welcome back once again. Social work and reparations. Imperative. That's our discussion for this morning. So, Dr. Muid, I want to ask you, how do historical injustices connect reparations? How does it continue to show up in modern social work practice, particularly in the areas such as housing, education, health, and economic opportunities? Our time, oh gosh, I'm just looking at the clock. Our time is running down so quickly. That hour goes by so fast. Um, can you share with the audience how that ties in to those particular areas? Once again, such as housing, education, health, and economic opportunities.
Okay. Okay. So maybe the succinct way to address the question, respond to it, is to see the progression of our people from slavery to present day, and that is understood by understanding redlining. So we were on the plantation, physically constrained, and then when we had a chance to purchase houses, we were redlined, and all the places in which our communities were redlined show the highest level of infant mortality, show the highest level of maternal mortality, and also show the lowest level of economic feasibility. So we're talking about something in international terms, which are called domestic colonies. So if we look at our situation as a domestic colony, do we control the true politics of our community? No. Do we control the economics of our community? No. Do we control the hospitals of our community? No. Most of the hospitals in Black communities have been shutting down uh, religiously for the last 20 years or so. So when you look at our situation, you can see we're used as a dumping ground of inferior products, and we're used to extract the money that comes through us. So housing, so many of our people go from apartment to apartment. So many of our people are already homeless. So we can see that we're not enjoying the quality of life that America has been, shown to be. With respect to, you said housing, covered housing, health, we know that we suffer the highest rates of the poorest health conditions, be it heart attacks, be it asthma. Most of the processing plants pollution, it creates so much pollution that we have the highest rates of asthma in our communities
Mhm.
because we experience environmental racism. And then you couple that with what is called the social determinants of health, and you put all that together, and you're looking at the people who, in fact, are colonized. And now the federal government has said to us, you can't say social determinant. Can you believe this? The federal government has told us if you're going to apply for federal money, you can't talk about the social determinants of health. It's showing you the level of disdain and adversity that's geared towards us in terms of to keep us in an inferior position. So health,
Education.
education. This is really maybe one of the saddest parts to share with you. We've been talking about the prison to pipeline for the last, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 years, right? How our children go to school, they get miseducated, they get frustrated, they drop out of school, they join the underground economy, and before you know it, they're in jail. Well, guess what? Our children, I live in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. Black children in Delaware County are being kicked out of nursery school, not
Mhm.
once, not twice, not three. So not only has the prison to pipeline continued, it's gone down to a lower level. We are, our children are adultified. All our children are seen as adults and are treated as adults. and all the disadvantages that a people can be burdened by, we are. So when we talk about this economy, sometimes people use the expression white privilege, because we know when the Constitution was created in 1790s, something like that. The first act of Congress was to say to be a citizen, you have to be white and 21. And guess what? That stayed on the books until 1952.
Mhm.
It stayed on the books and it wasn't altered until 1952, the year that I was born, and also the year of the first year of the DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual. And I'm trying to say, wait a minute. So you say we can't be a citizen, and then when you say we can, when you take it off the books, it's like you're a citizen, but you are defective. Now remember, back in what the 1800s, it was Cartwright who said enslaved people running away have a disease. It's called drapetomia. And the way that we're going to solve that disease is we have to beat them to bring them back into sanity. You can't make this stuff up.
No.
So we're looking at a system that has continuously dehumanized us, damaged us, and because of the damage, pathologized us. So we as social workers are taught to do what a needs analysis, not a power analysis, but a needs analysis. So it's so much to our education that is misinformed and misdirected. So this is why reparations is the imperative, because only you can't solve micro problems. You can't solve macro problems at a micro level. It's impossible. You can only solve macro problems with a macro solution. That is
Yes.
reparations. But we have to study what reparations are. We have to talk to our people to find out what they think about it. So only through social movement will the demand be strong enough to actually get the justice that we deserve.
Yes. Yes. What a way to go to commercial break. Guys, it is time for another commercial break. Don't go away. We'll be right back to go into our wrap up. See you at the break.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Welcome back. And as I always like to say, good Saturday morning. We are preparing, or I'm preparing for the closeout. My guest this morning, Dr. Muid, has been imparting information about social work and the reparations imperative. As we prepare for the closeout, Dr. Muid would like to share information or the link about the upcoming event that he and colleagues have been preparing so diligently to impart and share information about this event. They are so excited about it, and I am more than certain that the information that will be shared is going to have such a grave impact on our profession overall. So at this time, I'd like Dr. Muid to share that information before I go into my closeout. So Dr. Muid, please go ahead and share the link for
Yes,
the
yes.
upcoming event.
Thank you. So yeah, you can visit SW4, the number 4, reparations.org. SW4 reparations.org. If you go to that website, you would see under events, that's where you would register, but you'd also get a chance to see some of the scholarly papers that's been produced by members of Social Workers for Reparations. That's simple.
Wonderful, wonderful. And also, I would ask if individuals are interested in becoming a member of NABSW, if you could share information about the organization as well.
Okay, yes, that's available. I don't have their email address, but you can email me if you like. That's muiddsw@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to respond to your inquiries.
Wonderful, excellent, excellent. Dr. Muid, thank you for joining us today and for helping to guide such an important and thought-provoking conversation. Today's discussion reminds us that social work is not about responding to crisis in the present. It is also about understanding historical forces that shape the conditions people are living in today. Reparations at its core is a conversation about acknowledgement, accountability, and restoration. For social workers engaging in these conversations, it's not about politics, it's not about justice, equity, and the ethical commitment to challenge systems that create harm. As professionals dedicated to that well being of individuals, families, and communities, we must be willing to just explore histories while helping to imagine a more just future. Because social work is not just about helping to survive programs. It's about transforming systems so people can thrive. Hear me clearly about that. Thank you again, Dr. Muid, for sharing your insight and leadership with us today. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. Another powerful conversation on Dare to Soar with Dr. R.C. Mead, understanding and inspiring change. Until next time, guys, keep advocating and keep uplifting communities. And most importantly, never be afraid to elevate to new heights as you spread your wings and dare to soar. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you all next week.
This has been Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. R.C. Come take a ride and soar to your highest level possible each week on Dr. R.C.'s Dare to Soar.